Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. This week's Torah portion tells the story of Joseph, who's thrown into a pit by his brothers, then sold into slavery into Egypt. And one day his master's wife, Potiphar's wife, lays her eyes upon him. And she says to him, when no one is in the house, lie with me, sleep with me, be intimate with me. And then the Torah says, Vayima'en. He refuses her, and he tries to escape, to flee from the house. And she grabs onto his coat, and he runs out of the house, leaving his coat, his jacket, in her hands. And of course, when her husband comes home, she accuses him of trying to seduce her, and Joseph is sent into prison for 12 years. And the question the rabbis say is, how did Joseph have the strength to resist the temptation of Potiphar's wife? After all, he was 17 years old, he was in a faraway country in Egypt, ripped away from his family, abandoned, betrayed by his brothers. This woman is powerful, she could make his life good or bad. How did he resist the temptation? And our rabbis say that at that moment, he saw the image of his father, his face of his father Jacob. And when he saw the face of his father's Jacob, Dmus Diyukno Shel Aviv, he said, I can't do this, and he fled. But here we find something fascinating. The word Vayima'en, he rejected her, he refused her advances. The word Vayima'en is not only found in the story of Joseph and the wife of Potiphar, it's found earlier in this week's Torah portion one other time. And that is when the brothers come back after having sold Joseph. They bring back his coat of many colors, dipped in blood. And they say a wild animal devoured must have eaten him alive. And the Torah says that Jacob begins grieving for his son. And all of his sons and daughter-in-laws try to comfort him. And there the Torah uses the exact same word, Vayima'en. He refused to be comforted. Why? Our rabbis say, because he said, I'm not giving up hope. I know the evidence shows that my son is dead, but I'm never going to give up hope. I refuse to accept this. I'm going to hope and pray that I will see him again. And sure enough, he was reunited with him. And our rabbis say something so beautiful. They say when a child knows that their parent refuses to give up on them, that their parent believes in them, the way Joseph knew that his father believed in him, then they have the strength and the courage to always stand up and do the right thing and refuse the temptations around them. And in our lives, there are people we believe in. We always have to tell them how much we believe in them so they could have that confidence and rise to our faith in them. The story that Rabbi Moshe from California tells, that one day in his summer camp, he took the teenagers to an amusement park and he took them into an arcade room. And he sees the way this kid is online to buy tokens. And the man in front of him takes out his wallet to get some money to buy tokens, and he accidentally drops $1. And then he sees the way one of the other campers walks over, kicks the dollar to the side, picks it up and walks away with it. But before he had a chance to reprimand this kid, he sees the way the kid behind the man who dropped $1 quickly takes one of his dollars, drops it on the floor, taps the man on the shoulder and says, excuse me, sir, I think you dropped something. The man picks it up and thanks him. Rabbi Brisky goes over to this camper and says, David, I saw what you did. He stole $1 and you dropped your $1 and said, I think you dropped something. How did you know how to do that at such a young age? And the boy said, let me tell you something, Rabbi. He says, my family and I moved here to California just a couple of years ago. However, I grew up in Brooklyn, and my Zaidi had a grocery store. And I would get dropped off from school with the bus, and I would go hang out at my Zaidi's store until my mother picked me up after work. And my Zaidi would give me a snack, and I would do my homework. One day a customer came in and came to the counter and accidentally dropped $1. I walked over, kicked it to the side, and put it in my pocket. When the customer was leaving, my Zaidi leaned over the counter, dropped $1 on the floor, and said, excuse me, sir, I think you dropped something. The man came back, picked it up, and thanked him. I realized my Zaidi saw me, and I was so embarrassed. And so I walked over to my Zaidi, and I said, Zaidi, I'm sorry, and I handed him back the $1. And this boy says to Rabbi Brisky, my Zaidi looked at me with the saddest eyes I've ever seen. And he said, David, from you I expected more. And he went about doing his work in the store and never said another word to me about it. When my mother picked me up, he didn't even mention it. He says, those words have hurt me ever since. He said, When I saw the man drop the doll, I remember what my Zaidi did. And I did what he did. I dropped my doll on the floor and said, I think you dropped something. And then the boy said to Rabbi Brisky, my Zaidi just passed away a few months ago. I hope he was looking down from heaven, and I hope I made him proud of me today. When children and grandchildren know you believe in them, you believe in their inner goodness and their inner potential, they want to make you proud, and they rise to the occasion, just the way Joseph did for his father, Jacob. Have a wonderful day.